Listen. There comes a moment in everyone's life when you look in the mirror and the reflection staring back at you feels like a stranger. Not because you don't recognize your face, but because you no longer recognize your worth. And if you're honest with yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That quiet feeling inside you. That whisper that says, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not special. Maybe I'm not meant to shine. This video is the moment that whisper finally meets its end. Because today you will remember something the world has tried to make you forget. You were born enough. You've always been enough. You just stopped believing it. And by the end of this journey, your self-confidence will not just rise. It will return to the place it always belonged. Inside your bones, inside your voice, inside your identity. Let's begin. Confidence is not a gift. Confidence is not talent. Confidence is not about looking perfect, acting fearless, or pretending you don't feel pain. Confidence is something far more real. It is the story you tell yourself when no one is listening. And most people? They've been telling themselves the wrong story for years. Let me ask you something and be honest. How long have you been carrying a broken story about yourself? A story written by people who underestimated you, people who left you, people who judged you, people who never even bothered to know you. Maybe a teacher said you'd never amount to anything. Maybe your parents never appreciated you. Maybe someone you trusted made you feel replaceable. Maybe a relationship made you doubt your own worth. Maybe life knocked you down so many times you're now scared to stand tall again. Whatever the reason, your confidence didn't disappear. It was taken, slowly, piece by piece. But here's the truth they never tell you. Your self-confidence is not lost. It's buried. And buried things can be dug back up. Confidence is not something you find outside. It's something you rebuild inside. And that rebuilding starts with one realization. Lesson 1, you were not born insecure. Think about a child. A small toddler barely able to speak, wobbling around on tiny legs. They fall. They get up. They fall again. They get up again. They fall a third time. They get up laughing. Not once do they say, "Oh no, I'm embarrassed. I'm such a failure. I shouldn't try again." Children are naturally fearless, naturally confident, naturally expressive, naturally proud of themselves. So what happened to you? Who taught you doubt? Who taught you fear? Who taught you that your voice should be small? Who taught you that being yourself wasn't enough? Confidence wasn't something you lacked. It was something the world slowly stole. Through criticism, through comparison, through silence, through rejection, through disappointment, through shame. But here's the part no one tells you. Backhand index pointing right. If the world can teach you to be insecure, you can teach yourself to be confident again. Self-confidence is not a gift. It's a skill, a mindset, a discipline, a self-agreement you make every single day. And it begins here. Lesson 2, confidence is built in the moments no one sees. People love to believe confidence comes from big achievements. Hitting a milestone, making money, looking amazing, being admired. But that's not true. True confidence is built in the silent, unglamorous moments. When you choose discipline over comfort. When you speak up even when your voice shakes. When you walk into a room without shrinking yourself. When you keep your promises to yourself. When you refuse to be the old version of you. When you get rejected and still try again. Confidence is not shouting. Confidence is not showing off. Confidence is not pretending you're unbreakable. Confidence is quiet. Confidence is self-respect. Confidence is the voice inside you saying, "I can do this even if I'm scared." The world celebrates loud confidence. But the strongest confidence is the one only you can hear. And that's the one we're going to build. Lesson 3, self-doubt is not your enemy. Everyone talks about self-doubt like it's a monster hiding under the bed. But what if I told you self-doubt isn't the enemy? What if it's actually a sign that you're growing? Let me explain. Self-doubt appears when you step into the unknown. It appears when you try something new. It appears when you're evolving. It appears when you leave your comfort zone. The only people who never feel self-doubt are people who never try, never risk, never grow. So yes, doubt feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort? It's a sign that your life is changing. If your knees are shaking, if your mind is racing, if your chest is tight, it means you're moving toward something bigger than your old self. Confidence isn't the absence of doubt. Confidence is carrying doubt with you and showing up anyway. That's the difference between people who rise and people who stay stuck. Lesson 4, you have been apologizing for yourself. And you don't even notice it. You apologize when someone bumps into you. You apologize when you ask a simple question. You apologize when you speak your mind. You apologize for taking space. You apologize for existing too loudly. You apologize for wanting more. But let me ask you something real. Why do you shrink yourself so others feel comfortable? Who convinced you that your presence is a burden? Who convinced you that you have to earn permission to exist? Repeat after me, even silently. I do not apologize for being myself. Say it until your bones believe it. Because confidence begins the moment you stop treating your existence like an inconvenience. Lesson 5. The world sees you how you see you. You teach people how to treat you. Not with your words but with your energy. If your body language says, I'm unsure, I'm insecure, I don't deserve much, people will treat you accordingly. If your mindset says, I expect respect, I expect value, I expect to be spoken to with dignity, the world adjusts. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is clarity. Confidence is inner alignment. Confidence is walking through life without bending your soul for approval. Self-worth is not a negotiation. It is a declaration. And the world listens to declarations. Lesson 6. The real you is hiding under layers. Here's the real reason you struggle with confidence. You have been wearing emotional armor for so long that you forgot what your real self actually feels like. You've layered yourself with fear of disappointing people, fear of being judged, fear of being compared, fear of being abandoned, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being seen too clearly. And slowly, you buried the real you underneath all those layers. But confidence is not about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the person you were before the world made you doubt yourself. Confidence is not an upgrade. Confidence is a recovery. A recovery of your voice. A recovery of your identity. A recovery of your courage. A recovery of the spark inside you. A recovery of your self-worth. Confidence is remembering that you were born enough. And choosing to stop believing the lies. Lesson 7. Stop comparing yourself to people who aren't you. Comparison is the thief of confidence. Not because other people are better than you, but because comparison tricks you into forgetting your own path. Let me tell you something powerful. Backhand index pointing right, you cannot compare a sunrise and a star. They shine at different times. Your timing is different. Your background is different. Your strengths are different. Your story is different. Your journey is different. Comparison is an insult to the uniqueness of your soul. Instead of saying, they're better than me, try saying, they are them and I am me. Confidence blooms when comparison dies. Lesson 8. You don't need to be amazing to start. One of the biggest myths about confidence is this idea. I'll start when I'm ready. I'll speak up when I'm sure. I'll try when I feel confident. No. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes after action. You don't need confidence to begin. You gain confidence by beginning. The first step is ugly. The first attempt is awkward. The first try feels uncomfortable. The first moment feels shaky. But shaky beginnings build strong identities. Confidence is not what you feel before you leap. It's what you develop because you leaped. Lesson 9. Speak to yourself like someone you love. Think about someone you genuinely care about. A friend, a sibling, a partner, a child. If they came to you feeling insecure, would you call them stupid? Would you say they're worthless? Would you tell them to stay small? Of course not. Then why do you talk to yourself in a way you'd never talk to someone you love? The truth is, confidence grows in an environment of kindness. Especially kindness toward yourself. Speak to yourself like someone you're trying to protect. Speak to yourself like someone you're trying to build. Speak to yourself like someone you want to see win. Your words plant seeds. Make sure you're planting the right ones. Lesson 10. This is your wake-up moment. Take a breath. Because this is the part where your story changes. Not through magic. Not through luck. Not through motivation that fades after 2 hours. But through awareness. You are not lacking confidence. You are rediscovering it. You are not weak. You are healing. You are not behind. You are beginning. And beginnings are powerful. Because today, you are choosing to reclaim something you never should have lost. Backhand index pointing right, your voice. Your worth. Your confidence. Your identity. This was just part 1 of your transformation. Parts 2, 3, 4, and 5 will take you deeper. Into self-worth, inner strength, identity rebuilding, emotional armor removal, and becoming the strongest version of yourself. When people talk about confidence, they always focus on the outside stuff. Stand tall. Speak loudly. Walk with your chest out. Look people in the eyes. Good advice. But completely useless if the inside of you is falling apart. Because true confidence isn't built in your posture. It's built in your identity. In what you believe you deserve. In how you see yourself when no one else is watching. And this is where the real battle begins. Today we're diving into the part that nobody talks about. The raw, quiet, internal war that shapes your entire life. Backhand index pointing right, your relationship with yourself. Let's go deeper. Lesson 1. The world taught you to doubt yourself before you even had a chance. Before you knew what confidence meant. Before you could spell self-worth. You were already being shaped. Every laugh at your mistakes. Every comment about your appearance. Every comparison to someone else. Every moment someone ignored your voice. Every time you were told to be quiet. Every time your feelings were dismissed. Every time you were made to feel too much or not enough. These moments didn't just pass. They planted seeds. Little seeds that grew into beliefs like, I'm not special. I don't matter. I need permission to speak. No one listens to me. I'm probably wrong. I'm not good enough. I should shrink to fit in. And the saddest part? You didn't choose these beliefs. You inherited them. From broken people. From insecure people. From wounded people. From people who didn't know any better. But here's the truth. You do not have to carry beliefs that were never yours. You can return them. You can outgrow them. You can walk away from them. Because your childhood shaped you. But your adulthood can rebuild you. Lesson 2. Confidence breaks when you give the world too much power. There is a moment in every insecure person's life that changes everything. The moment you hand your worth to someone else. It happens quietly. You need someone's approval to feel good. You need someone's attention to feel valuable. You need someone's validation to feel worthy. You need someone's acceptance to feel confident. And suddenly, your entire identity depends on how someone else sees you. That is how confidence breaks. When your self-worth becomes a mirror that only reflects what others think. Listen carefully. Backhand index pointing right, anyone who can give you confidence can also take it away. And that is not power you should give to anyone. Confidence built on compliments collapses with criticism. Confidence built on attention disappears with silence. Confidence built on admiration dies with rejection. You shouldn't be fueled by what they think. You should be fueled by who you are. True confidence comes from this belief. Even if you don't choose me, I still choose myself. That's the turning point. Lesson 3. You are not broken. You are underestimated. Most people think they lack confidence because there's something wrong with them. No, you're not broken. You're not weak. You're not defective. You're simply underestimated. By the world, by people, and most importantly, by yourself. Think about it. Every time you doubted yourself, you still kept going. Every time you felt insecure, you still showed up. Every time you felt unworthy, you still tried. Every time you were scared, you still faced something harder than fear. You survived things that would have destroyed someone else. But you don't call that confidence. You call it just doing what I had to do. No, that is strength. That is resilience. That is endurance. That is courage. You don't lack confidence. You lack recognition of your own strength. So today I want you to hear this clearly. Backhand index pointing right, you have already lived through moments that prove you are stronger than you think. Your confidence isn't missing. It's simply unrecognized. Lesson 4. You have been loving others more than you love yourself. Let's be brutally honest. You show up for others more than you show up for yourself. You support others more than you support yourself. You defend others more than you defend yourself. You forgive others quicker than you forgive yourself. You encourage others more than you encourage yourself. You water everyone else's garden, and then wonder why your own roots feel dry. Confidence cannot grow in someone who treats themselves like a second choice. You deserve the same care. You deserve the same love. You deserve the same forgiveness. You deserve the same support. You deserve the attention you keep giving to others. Confidence begins the moment you do something for yourself. With the same heart you use to help everyone else. Lesson 5. The voice in your head is not your enemy, it's your echo. Let me teach you something life-changing. You are not insecure because your mind hates you. You are insecure because your mind is echoing the voices that once hurt you. That voice that says, you're not enough. You're doing it wrong. You're not attractive. No one will choose you. You're going to fail. That voice didn't come from you. It came from parents who didn't know how to praise you, friends who didn't understand you, relationships that didn't value you, society that profits from your insecurity. Your mind is replaying old recordings, old wounds, old judgments, old pain. But once you know that voice isn't yours, backhand index pointing right, you can replace it, rewrite it, rebuild it, reclaim it. The moment you take control of your inner voice is the moment your confidence begins to rebuild. Lesson 6. Self-worth means rewriting your story. Confidence doesn't come from pretending. It doesn't come from faking it. It doesn't come from trying to look strong. Confidence comes from rewriting the story you tell yourself about yourself. Think about the stories you believe. I'm not smart enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not capable. I'm always left behind. I'm not as good as them. I don't belong. I don't matter. I'm just average. Who told you these stories? And why did you believe them? Confidence begins when you challenge the narrative. Try saying this instead. I may not know everything, but I learn fast. I may not look like them, but I look like me. I may not have it all, but I have potential. I may be scared, but I've survived worse. I may fall, but I rise every time. I may doubt, but I don't stop. I may hurt, but I heal. I may be quiet, but I'm powerful. This is not delusion. This is choosing a story that helps you rise, not one that keeps you small. Lesson 7. The people you seek approval from don't see the full you. Here's something no one tells you. Most people who judge you don't even know you. Not the real you. Not your inner world. Not your battles. Not your growth. Not your depth. Not your potential. They judge you based on a moment, based on a version of you that doesn't even exist anymore. So why are you holding their opinions like they're the truth? Why give your whole emotional world to someone who only knows one page of your story? They don't know your pain. They don't know your heart. They don't know your dreams. They don't know your struggles. They don't know your strength. You keep forgetting that most people are speaking from their own wounds, not your worth. Confidence grows the moment you stop giving weight to opinions that were never about you. Lesson 8. Your insecurities are not proof of weakness. Let's talk about the parts you hide. The part of you that thinks you're not attractive enough. The part that thinks you're not smart enough. The part that thinks you're behind in life. The part that thinks you're not successful enough. The part that thinks you're replaceable. The part that thinks you're unlovable. These insecurities don't make you weak. They make you human. Even the strongest people on the planet feel insecure. They just don't let insecurity dictate their actions. Confidence is not the absence of insecurity. Confidence is walking forward with insecurity and choosing not to let it lead. You don't need to eliminate doubt to rise. You just need to stop feeding it. Lesson 9. You keep forgetting your power. Every time you walk away from something toxic, that's confidence. Every time you choose yourself over someone who didn't choose you, that's confidence. Every time you try again after failing, that's confidence. Every time you speak up, that's confidence. Every time you set a boundary, that's confidence. Every time you walk into a room that intimidates you, that's confidence. Every time you refuse to shrink, that's confidence. You think you lack confidence, but you practice courage every single day. You just don't celebrate yourself for it. Today that changes. Lesson 10. You are worthy right now, not someday. The biggest lie insecurities tell you is this: I will be worthy when I improve. I will be loved when I become better. I will be confident when I'm successful. I will matter when I achieve something big. No. Worthiness doesn't come after improvement. Worthiness is the foundation of improvement. You don't earn worthiness. You already have it. You don't need to change yourself to be worthy. You need to stop abandoning yourself. Confidence grows when you stop treating yourself like a project and start treating yourself like a person. Not when I'm perfect. Not when I fix everything. Not when I finally look right. Right now. As you are. In this moment. With your flaws, your past, your fears, and your doubts. You are enough. Not later. Now. And the moment you believe that is the moment your entire life shifts. You have lived your whole life thinking confidence is something you get from the world. But in reality, confidence is something you build against the world. It comes from the battles you fight in silence. From the pain you hide behind your smile. From the storms you survive without telling anyone. From the nights you cry quietly so no one worries. From the mornings you get up even though your soul feels heavy. Your confidence is not missing. Your confidence is asleep. And today we wake it up. Because in this part of your journey, you will learn how confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you become. Let's go deeper. Lesson 1. You cannot become confident while being someone you're not. One of the biggest confidence killers in life is simple. Pretending. Pretending to be okay. Pretending to be strong. Pretending to fit in. Pretending to not care. Pretending to be the version of yourself the world prefers. You don't realize it, but pretending is exhausting. And the more you pretend, the further you drift from your real identity. Confidence cannot grow in someone who hides themselves. Because confidence is not built on performance. Confidence is built on authenticity. Confidence is saying, this is who I am. Not perfect. Not flawless, but real. The moment you stop acting like someone else, your real confidence finally has room to breathe. And trust me, your real self is far more powerful than any mask you've ever worn. Lesson 2. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You've done it for years. Lowered your voice, softened your opinions, reduced your personality, made yourself smaller, dimmed your light. Not because you lack confidence, but because you didn't want to intimidate people. You didn't want to be judged. You didn't want to outshine others. You didn't want to lose acceptance. You didn't want to be too much. But here's the truth. People who are intimidated by your confidence are the ones who benefit from your insecurity. Your smallness doesn't protect them. It only hurts you. You were not born to shrink. You were born to expand, to grow, to express, to speak, to shine, to take up space, to live loudly, to be fully yourself. Your light is not the problem. Their eyes are. From now on, anytime you feel yourself shrinking, remember this. Backhand index pointing right. The world needs the full version of you, not the edited version. Lesson 3. Healing your past is part of building confidence. Let's address something deep, something most people avoid, something painful but necessary. You cannot build confidence on top of old wounds, because unhealed pain becomes insecurity, unhealed betrayal becomes distrust, unhealed criticism becomes self-judgment, unhealed abandonment becomes self-doubt, unhealed childhood trauma becomes adult insecurity. This is why you feel triggered when someone ignores you. This is why you feel unworthy when someone leaves. This is why you feel insecure when someone criticizes you. This is why you feel small when someone disrespects you. It's not weakness. It's emotional memory. Your body remembers pain even when your mind tries to move on. So before confidence grows, healing must begin. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing doesn't mean pretending. Healing doesn't mean ignoring. Healing means saying, yes, this hurt me, but I won't let it define me anymore. Yes, I was wounded, but I am not living my life from that wound. Yes, I was broken, but I am choosing to rebuild myself. Confidence is not the absence of pain. Confidence is the mastery of it. Lesson 4. You keep waiting for permission that will never come. This part will hit deep. You have wasted years waiting. Waiting for approval. Waiting for validation. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for someone to believe in you. Waiting for confidence to appear. Waiting for the fear to disappear. Waiting for someone to say, go. You're ready now. But here's the secret you were never told. Backhand index pointing right. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to approve you. No one is coming to grant you permission. Not your family. Not your friends. Not society. Not the world. Not your past. Not your circumstances. The only person who can give you permission to rise is you. Confidence doesn't come from being chosen. Confidence comes from choosing yourself. You don't need anyone's blessing. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone's permission. Your life belongs to you. And the moment you take ownership of it, your confidence will skyrocket. Lesson 5. Stop overthinking your worth. I want to ask you something simple. Why do you treat your worth like a math problem? You keep overthinking every mistake, overthinking every word, overthinking every action, overthinking every flaw, overthinking every decision, overthinking every insecurity, as if your worth can be measured, as if your value can be calculated, as if your self-worth depends on perfection. But self-worth doesn't come from performance. Self-worth comes from existence. You don't need to earn the right to be valuable. You already are. You don't need to justify the right to be loved. You already deserve it. You don't need to achieve something extraordinary to matter. You already matter. Confidence is not thinking you're perfect. Confidence is knowing you're worthy even when you're not. Lesson 6. Confidence begins when you start breaking old patterns. Insecurity is not random. It's a pattern. A pattern built through choices, habits, and repeated emotional reactions. Think about it. You avoid opportunities because you assume you'll fail. You stay quiet because you assume your voice doesn't matter. You settle for less because you assume you can't get better. You chase people because you assume you're not worth staying for. You accept disrespect because you assume you don't deserve more. These aren't personality traits. These are practiced behaviors. And anything practiced can be unpracticed. Confidence is not a gift. It is a series of choices. Small choices. Choices like speaking even when you're scared, taking the opportunity even when you're unsure, walking away from people who don't value you, setting boundaries without apologizing, choosing yourself without guilt, showing up even when you feel imperfect. Every confident person you admire, didn't wake up that way. They built themselves brick by brick. And you can do the same. Lesson 7. People are not thinking about you as much as you think. One of the biggest barriers to confidence is this illusion. What will they think of me? But here's the truth. People are not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their own insecurities, their own flaws, their own problems, their own image, their own life. You are a side note in their mind, not a headline. But you treat their opinion like it's the center of your universe. Imagine how free you would feel if you stopped giving your entire emotional world to people who barely notice you. Confidence grows the moment you stop performing for an audience that isn't watching. Lesson 8. You don't need to be loud to be confident. People often mistake confidence for loudness, for being the center of attention, for being the loudest voice in the room. But that's wrong. Confidence can be quiet. Confidence can be gentle. Confidence can be calm. Confidence can be soft. Confidence can be introverted. Confidence can be graceful. Confidence is not volume. Confidence is certainty. Certainty in who you are. Certainty in what you believe. Certainty in what you deserve. Certainty in your identity. The loudest person is not the most confident. The most centered person is. Your quiet strength is powerful. Don't underestimate it. Lesson 9. Confidence is not an act, it's alignment. Let's go deeper into this. Confidence is not pretending to be strong. Confidence is being aligned with your true self. Confidence comes when your thoughts align with your values, your words align with your identity, your actions align with your self-respect, your relationships align with your standards, your choices align with your worth. Confidence is simply being consistent with who you truly are. When you're misaligned, you feel insecure. You feel disconnected. You feel uncomfortable in your own skin. When you're aligned, you feel powerful. You feel grounded. You feel clear. You feel confident. Alignment is the foundation of self-worth. Lesson 10. Becoming confident is not a transformation. It's a return. Let me end part 3 with something powerful. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to someone old. Someone you used to be. Someone you lost along the way. Someone before the world made you doubt yourself. Someone before the pain reshaped you. Someone before insecurity made you small. You are returning to the you that spoke without fear, dreamed without limits, loved without hesitation, existed without apology, lived without seeking permission. Confidence is not a journey forward. Confidence is a journey inward. A return. A homecoming. A rebirth. And you are ready. Confidence is not a moment. Confidence is not a mood. Confidence is not a spark that comes and goes. Real, unshakable confidence, the kind that transforms your life, is built from a foundation much deeper, stronger, and quieter. Backhand index pointing right. Self-worth. Because confidence is how you act. But self-worth is how you see yourself. And you can only act like someone you truly believe you are. So if you want confidence that doesn't collapse, you must build a self-worth that doesn't negotiate. Let's rise. Lesson 1. Self-worth is not something you find, it's something you decide. People think self-worth is a discovery. They wait for a sign. They wait for success. They wait for love. They wait for approval. They wait for someone to come into their life and say, "You matter now." No. Self-worth is not discovered. Self-worth is chosen. Chosen in the moments you doubt yourself. Chosen in the moments you feel small. Chosen in the moments you feel unlovable. Chosen in the moments you feel invisible. Self-worth is a decision. I am valuable because I exist. I am deserving because I'm human. I don't need to earn my right to be here. I don't need to prove my worth to anyone. The moment you stop negotiating your worth, your entire life upgrades. Not because the world changes, but because you finally see your own value clearly. Lesson 2. Your standards shape your self-worth. Let's talk about standards, because they tell the world how to treat you. Every time you accept disrespect, inconsistency, mixed signals, cruelty, manipulation, crumbs of attention, relationships that drain you, friendships that use you, environments that crush you, jobs that undervalue you, you silently teach yourself, this is what I deserve. No wonder your confidence suffers. Self-worth grows when you raise your standards. Not because you become arrogant, but because you finally recognize your value. Raising your standards is not about being picky. It's about being aware. Aware of your worth. Aware of your boundaries. Aware of your needs. Aware of what nourishes you. Aware of what damages you. And here's the truth. Backhand index pointing right. If you don't set your standards, life will set them for you. And life has a habit of setting them low. Set them yourself. Set them high. Set them unapologetically. Lesson 3. Discomfort is the price of true self-worth. Let's be real. Raising your self-worth is uncomfortable. Why? Because when you level up your worth, everything that was built on your old worth begins to fall apart. Low-quality relationships disappear. Toxic people get offended. Manipulators lose control. Your old habits no longer satisfy you. Your old patterns feel suffocating. Your old environments feel too small. Feels lonely at first. It feels quiet. It feels unfamiliar. But that's what growth feels like. Confidence is built in the discomfort of letting go of version 1.0. To make room for version 2.0. You're not losing people. You're losing the people who can't reach your new level. You're not losing habits. You're gaining freedom. You're not losing your identity. You're discovering it. Lesson 4. Stop settling for the bare minimum. You've done it before. Accepted half love. Accepted half effort. Accepted half respect. Accepted half friendships. Accepted half apologies. Accepted half presence. Accepted half recognition. Not because you liked it, but because you believed it was the best you could get. This is not a relationship problem. This is not a friendship problem. This is not a career problem. This is a self-worth problem. You accepted less because you believed you were less. But listen to me carefully. Backhand index pointing right, you are not hard to love. You have simply been loving people who don't know how to love. Backhand index pointing right, you are not too much. You have simply been surrounded by people who can't handle depth. Backhand index pointing right, you are not unremarkable. You have simply been in environments that don't recognize your value. Settling is not humility. Settling is self-abandonment. And the moment you stop settling, your self-worth explodes. Lesson 5. Boundaries are a love letter to yourself. People think boundaries are rude. But boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are doors that allow the right things in and keep the wrong things out. A boundary says, this is what I tolerate. This is what I don't. This is how I expect to be treated. This is how I will not be treated. This is what is acceptable in my life. This is what is not. But here's the powerful part. Boundaries are not for others. Boundaries are for you. Because when you don't set boundaries, you betray yourself. Boundaries are self-respect in action. Boundaries are confidence in action. Boundaries are self-worth in action. And listen, you don't need a long explanation to set a boundary. No is a complete sentence. I'm not comfortable with that, is enough. I have different priorities right now, is enough. You don't owe anyone justification for protecting your peace. Lesson 6. Walk away from anything that makes you forget your worth. Let me say this with full clarity. If something makes you doubt yourself, makes you question your value, makes you feel unlovable, makes you feel replaceable, makes you feel anxious, makes you feel small, walk away. Walk away without guilt. Walk away without explaining. Walk away without fearing what you lose. Because anything you lose while protecting your worth was never meant to stay. Self-worth isn't built by holding on. Self-worth is built by letting go. Your future self is waiting on the other side of what you walk away from. Lesson 7. Your environment is shaping your confidence every day. Let's talk about an uncomfortable truth. You cannot grow in soil that poisons you. Your environment affects you more than you think. The people around you, the conversations you hear, the energy you absorb, the expectations placed on you, the habits of those close to you, the dreams people encourage or discourage. If you are surrounded by people who complain, people who criticize, people who gossip, people who doubt you, people who belittle dreams, people who settle for mediocrity, how can you build confidence? Environment is not a background. Environment is a blueprint. If you want confidence that rises, surround yourself with people who rise. People who dream, people who believe, people who support, people who motivate, people who bring peace, people who elevate your energy, people who see your worth even when you forget it. You don't need a perfect environment. You need a nourishing one. Lesson 8. Self-worth speaks in silence. You don't need to prove anything, perform for approval, beg for love, chase attention, convince people of your value, shout your worth, argue with people who misunderstand you. Self-worth is quiet. It's felt through your energy, your posture, your decisions, your boundaries, your silence, your choices, your presence. The loudest confidence comes from the calmest soul. A soul that no longer seeks validation. A soul that knows its worth. A soul that is no longer afraid to be seen. Confidence built on self-worth is the kind that lasts. Lesson 9. You are allowed to outgrow people. Some people were meant to be lessons, not lifetimes. You outgrow people when You outgrow the version of yourself they knew. You stop tolerating what you once accepted. You raise your standards. You heal. You evolve. You discover your strength. You stop needing their approval. You stop fitting the box they placed you in. It doesn't mean you're better than them. It means you're becoming better for yourself. Outgrowing people is not betrayal. Outgrowing people is growth. And growth is the ultimate expression of self-worth. Lesson 10. When you stop abandoning yourself, everything changes. Let's end part 4 with a truth that can transform your life. You have abandoned yourself more times than anyone else ever abandoned you. You abandoned yourself every time you settled, stayed silent, doubted yourself, accepted less, let people disrespect you, ignored red flags, put yourself last, apologized for existing, blamed yourself for others' actions, stayed where you were shrinking. But here's the good news. Backhand index pointing right. If you can abandon yourself, you can also choose to return to yourself. You can choose your worth. You can choose your peace. You can choose your voice. You can choose your boundaries. You can choose your identity. You can choose your future. When you return to yourself and stop abandoning who you truly are, your confidence becomes unbreakable. Because confidence isn't built in the world. Confidence is built inside you and radiates outward. And now you're ready for the final transformation. Everything you've learned so far has been building toward this moment. Not a moment of motivation. Not a moment of inspiration. But a moment of identity. Because the truth is simple. Confidence isn't something you feel, it's something you become. Confidence is not a technique. Confidence is not a posture. Confidence is not a tactic. Confidence is not a trick. Confidence is a way of living. It's how you speak, how you think, how you walk, how you choose, how you react, how you treat yourself, how you let people treat you, how you show up in the world. And from this moment forward, you will show up differently. Let's begin the transformation. Lesson 1. Confidence is a habit, not a mood. People think confident people wake up feeling like superheroes. Wrong. Confidence is a habit, built through repeated choices. Every time you speak up instead of staying silent, you build the habit. Every time you stand tall instead of shrinking, you build the habit. Every time you make a decision without overthinking, you build the habit. Every time you choose peace over drama, you build the habit. Every time you say no instead of betraying yourself with yes, you build the habit. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the repetition of courage. Do something with confidence long enough, and it becomes who you are. Lesson 2. Your presence speaks before you do. You've probably met someone with a presence that fills the room. Not because they were loud. Not because they were beautiful. Not because they were famous. But because they were centered. Their presence said, I know who I am. I know what I bring. I know what I deserve. I know where I'm going. Confidence is energy. Confidence is frequency. Confidence is alignment. Your presence becomes powerful the moment you stop seeking permission to exist. Walk into rooms without shrinking. Walk into conversations without apologizing. Walk into life without asking for approval. Your presence is a reflection of how deeply you value yourself. Lesson 3. Stop explaining yourself. Confident people don't explain themselves unnecessarily. They don't justify every decision. They don't defend their choices. They don't over-explain their feelings. They don't try to convince someone to understand them. Why? Because they understand a powerful truth. Backhand index pointing right. People who respect you don't need explanations. People who don't respect you won't believe explanations. Your life is not a courtroom. You are not on trial. Say what you mean what you say, and let your decisions stand. Explanation is optional. Self-respect is not. Lesson 4. Master the art of emotional control. Confidence collapses when emotion controls you. When someone insults you, you react. When someone ignores you, you panic. When someone walks away, you beg. When someone disappoints you, you break. But emotional control changes everything. Emotional control doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you don't surrender your power to everything. Emotional control says, I choose my reaction. I choose my response. I choose my peace. You stop chasing. You stop arguing. You stop overreacting. You stop trying to prove your worth. Silence becomes power. Stillness becomes strength. Patience becomes confidence. When you control your emotions, you control your life. Lesson 5. Speak with intention. A confident person speaks with clarity. Every word has weight. Every word has direction. Every word has purpose. They don't talk to fill silence. They don't gossip to feel included. They don't brag to feel valuable. They don't overshare to feel understood. They speak in a way that reflects their worth. Speak slowly. Speak clearly. Speak honestly. Speak respectfully. Speak from your truth. Speak like your voice matters, because it does. Your voice doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It needs to be aligned. Lesson 6. Become the calm person in the room. Do you know what true confidence looks like? Calmness. Calm when people panic. Calm when people argue. Calm when people judge. Calm when people doubt. Calm when people provoke. Calm when life shakes. Calm is not weakness. Calm is mastery. Calm says, I am not afraid of this moment. I am not controlled by this situation. I am not a prisoner of emotion. I am grounded in myself. People trust calm people. People admire calm people. People are drawn to calm people. Because calmness is confidence distilled into its purest form. Lesson 7. Walk like you belong everywhere you step. Here's something powerful. A confident person walks differently. Not arrogantly. Not aggressively. Not with ego. But with purpose. With direction. With posture. With certainty. With presence. Walk like you belong. Walk like you are allowed to take up space. Walk like your existence is not an inconvenience. Walk like your future is waiting for you. Because how you walk reflects what you believe you deserve. And you deserve more than you've been accepting. Lesson 8. Don't chase. Attract. Chasing is a sign of insecurity. Chasing says, my worth depends on you choosing me. Chasing says, please validate me. Chasing says, please see me as enough. Confident people don't chase. Confident people attract. Oh, by valuing themselves. By respecting themselves. By having standards. By living with purpose. By protecting their energy. By refusing to tolerate disrespect. By walking away when necessary. Attraction is effortless for someone who knows their worth. Chasing is what happens when you forget it. Remember who you are. Remember what you bring. Remember what you deserve. When you value yourself, the right things gravitate toward you. Lesson 9. Build a life that feels good, not a life that looks good. Confidence collapses when your life is built for the eyes of others. If you live for approval, applause, likes, attention, validation, admiration, comparison, you will always be insecure. Because the moment people stop watching, your entire world falls apart. Instead, build a life that feels good. A life where your peace is non-negotiable. A life where your boundaries are respected. A life where your voice matters. A life where your heart is protected. A life where your goals excite you. A life where you are proud of who you are becoming. Confidence grows when your outer world matches your inner world. And your inner world is the real foundation. Lesson 10. Become the person you needed when you were younger. This is where everything comes full circle. Think back to the younger you. The child who felt unseen. The teen who felt unworthy. The young adult who felt lost. Imagine what confidence would have meant to them. Imagine what love would have meant to them. Imagine what support would have meant to them. Imagine what reassurance would have meant to them. Now imagine becoming the person they needed. Someone who believes in themselves. Someone who values themselves. Someone who protects themselves. Someone who speaks kindly to themselves. Someone who honors their worth. Someone who never abandons themselves. This is the final stage of confidence. The moment you stop seeking who you wish you had and become that person. You cannot change the past, but you can become the guardian of your future. And that is the ultimate form of self-worth. Lesson 11. You don't need to feel ready to become unstoppable. Confidence doesn't require readiness. Confidence requires willingness. No one feels ready before doing something big. Confidence comes after you take the step. You don't become confident and then act. You act and then become confident. That is the formula. Start before you're ready. Speak before you're confident. Move before you're sure. Try before you're prepared. Growth doesn't happen in certainty. Growth happens in motion. Confident people aren't fearless. Confident people move despite fear. And that's what makes them unstoppable. Lesson 12. This is your era now. Let these words sink deep into your bones. You have played small for long enough. You have doubted yourself for long enough. You have apologized for long enough. You have shrunk for long enough. You have tolerated disrespect for long enough. You have questioned your worth for long enough. Now begins your era of self-respect, self-belief, self-worth, self-confidence, self-love, self-trust, self-protection, self-expression, self-growth. This is your rise. This is your rebirth. This is your transformation. This is your awakening. From this moment forward, you walk with purpose. You speak with intention. You move with confidence. You choose with clarity. You love with boundaries. You live with authenticity. You exist with certainty. Not because you're perfect, but because you're finally on your own side. Confidence isn't about being the best. Confidence is about being yourself without apology. And now, you are unstoppable. You are undeniable. You are unforgettable. You are rising. This is the moment you reclaim your life. This is the version of you the world has been waiting to meet. Welcome to the highest, strongest, most confident version of yourself. Welcome to you.